Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about making a background. Now we looked at backgrounds before, specifically in the world tab here. We can click on sort of this part here and give it some kind of colour, find some kind of subtle colours, go in the background, and then if we go into the rendered view we can see we've now got a very light green background, which is great. That's what we're using so far. But what we're going to do now is we're going to create symbol and make a big duplication of it in the background, so when we duplicate something out it's got a little bit more of a interesting background, should we say. So let's get rid of the default cube. X is delete, remember, and Shift A brings up the add menu and you can choose what you would like. So let's grab a plane. Now what we're going to do with this plane is we're going to go to edit mode. Remember, edit mode you can use tab to go into, you can see it changing up here. You can just do a drop down menu and select edit mode as well. And you should be able to see that at the moment in edit mode it's selected all 4 vertices automatically because we've selected this plane. What we're going to do is we're going to go onto the face mode, which is 3, remember, on your numpad. 1 vertices, 2 edges, 3 faces. We're going to click on this main face here and we're going to right click subdivide, and we should immediately see that it's subdivided into 4 separate faces. Nice and easy. If you want to go further, of course, there's a little menu that appears before you do anything here, so you subdivide and it immediately appears. As soon as you press something else it disappears, so you've got to do it immediately. So you can sort of further subdivide should you want to. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change this very slightly to make some kind of symbol. Now we could do something very intricate, but for now we just want something really simple. So we're going to grab the 4 vertices of the shape, the sort of the outermost vertices, the outermost corners, and we're just going to shift select those. So holding shift you can then select multiple objects at the same time. Remember, we're in vertices, so we're selecting corners. Up here we've got how they sort of scale around. Now the median point is what it's on at the moment. That is what we want. Sometimes you'll find that it's on individual origins, which means that whatever's going on it sort of centers around itself. Sometimes it's around 3D cursor. It depends what you need. At the moment we do want median point, so it's going to, whatever we're going to do, it's going to do it around the median point of all of these vertices. Easier seeing it than saying it sometimes. So all we're going to do is we're going to press S and scale these guys in. So we could have made some kind of octagon shape, we could have pushed it out this way and made a large like shuriken throwing star. We're going to go for a nice thin, sort of almost like a smaller shuriken I guess, but more like a sort of like a glint or a star in the sky. And now we've very quickly made our symbol. Object mode again, because that's what we want. We're going to rotate it. So rotate, you remember, is the key button, hopefully you said R. Rotate with R, so now we can rotate whatever we want. We're going to rotate it around the Y-axis, which means we press Y, and we could sort of try and guess how far we want it to go around, but you know that takes sort of superhuman skill to get the perfect angle. So you can just type in the angle on your numbers across the top. So if you press 90, now it's a perfect right angle. So rotated on the Y-axis by 90 degrees. R, Y, 90, enter. And what we want to do is we want to set this up as a background. So remember, if you go onto your numpad on the right and you press 0, so on the right hand of the keyboard where you've got sort of the numpad area, press 0 and you can come up with what your camera is currently looking at. Press N, go on to view, so remember N, and lock camera to view. And what that means is now when we press 0 on that numpad, we go into the camera mode, we can now move the camera around with our middle button, and the camera of the scene, the actual rendering camera, is picking up what we're doing. So what we're going to do is just line that up as straight as we can. There we go. So now it's looking directly at it. So that's all well and good. We've got to the point now where we've got some kind of a symbol. We've got the camera lined up to it, so we're looking at our symbol perfectly. But we wanted to have some kind of a background. At the moment, this, if we go into it, it's just going to, there's nothing going on there. We've got a green background with some kind of, it's a white symbol. And the green background is hitting it and making it green as well, so we haven't got much going on at the moment. So what we want to do, first things first, let's give our symbol some colour. Base colour, we can see the opposite of green is sort of purpley red, so we'll make it sort of that colour. Still a bit light, so it's not sort of dominating. If we go too far it just gets a bit stark, we don't really like that, so subtle colours work well. And what we want to do is we want to array this across, so duplicate it many times so it makes a repeating background. To do that, we're going to go into our modifiers, this little spanner tab over here. We add a modifier, And if we go all the way up here on generate, we can see array. It's got these little sort of duplications of a rectangle. So we're going to use array, and we can see immediately it started duplicating one way, but we don't want it just going straight down and touching each other. That's a bit not quite what we want. We're going to offset it very, very slightly, so we can see here it's going on. If we move this, we can see it's moving around dependent on where our original shape was. So we're going to put this one to 0, and we're going to move it across on this one here, 1.2, something like that. Okay, that's good. Now we've got 2. You can see we've got 2 there, and our count is 2. So if we put that up, more appear. If you now press grab, remember grab is G, hopefully you said G, G, grab on the y-axis, and we can move them across. There we go. Nice. So what we want to do is have a background. So let's scale it down very, very slightly. There we go. Another count across the array. There we go, put 6 just in case. And all I want us to do is get these moving across nicely, so we can scale it down even further if we wanted. It's really up to you how far you want to go. And remember, we now can duplicate. So if we press Shift D, you can see we get a duplication of everything we've just created. We don't want to just put them anywhere because it'll be out of line, so if we press Z, it'll duplicate and now place on the Z axis. So let's do that one there. Shift D, Z, and we put that one there. And now we're starting to get some kind of a background. Let's go a little bit further. Let's grab both of these ones. So remember, click one, hold down Shift, click the other, you grab them both at the same time. So if we now grab on the Y or something, we can offset it very slightly so we don't get a perfect repeating background, which wouldn't be as interesting. So now we can see we've got some kind of background that's repeating. It's very, very simple. It's almost too simple, we could do a lot more with this. But it's the start of something that works really, really nicely. I'll show you some examples. Okay, so a couple of examples. This is a very simple one. It's a stegosaurus that I've made sort of in low poly style. We can see in the background we've got bones, just because, you know, a thematic symbol works nicely. If we go here, this is a cuddly toy dog I made quite a long time ago. We can see in the background we've got buttons, purposely made so that sort of they're 3D as well, and they move around a bit, so it's not the same symbol over and over again. It's the similar shape but moving across and having different angles to make it a bit more interesting. This is a Pokemon Fanfi that I modelled a while ago. You can see we've got Pokeballs in the background. Now you might be able to see that they're not, you know, these big stark shapes. They're actually quite sort of faded. What we've done there is we've grabbed a rectangle, put it between the main model and the background, and made it glass on the material rather than sort of having a colour. It works really nicely and just gives a sort of faded effect to not detract attention. And it doesn't have to be anything massive each time. For this one here, we just made a few bubble symbols to make everything work nicely. Okay, so hopefully you've now got an idea of how to create a background that sort of fits in with something and just makes things pop out a little bit more. What I'd like you to do is now try it yourself. Don't worry about the glass part until you're happy with everything else. Remember, you don't have to do something as simple as I did. You can make whichever symbol you want. I've done sort of Pokeballs and bones and all sorts of things here. So choose something and try it yourself. Okay, I'll see you next time, and I look forward to seeing what you've made.